Trust and truth are integral to each other. When someone trusts something, they believe that that something will act a specific way. Whether that something is a person, business, or an item or a thing, people have an expectation for what it will do, and that is what trust is. This trust is basically a belief to perform a specific way. When you drink water from the water fountain or water from your sink, you believe that the water is water and not some sort of poison or lead-infested water. When the water comes out to be poisoned, you will no longer trust the water source. The people in Flint, Michigan no longer trust their water source, nor do they trust the ones that poisoned them, namely the government and that governor. This is one of the takeaways from the idiom passage, poisoning the well, where everyone can be suspicious or paranoid or skeptical of everything. Trustless is not a good look. Once bitten, twice shy. When you buy a good product from a reputable brand, you have a certain degree of trust behind your purchasing decisions. The trust in the name brand is a trust in the name. When you buy a product, you expect it to work a certain way, and if it doesn't, you expect a certain warranty or guarantee of a good functioning product or a refund or some other negotiable instrument. Trust and faith in names, whether they be business, corporations, or local mom and pop shops, or even a person, is a trust in the name, in the person, the identity, the brand identity. So when we trust in the idea that the sun will rise tomorrow, we have faith that the world will work the same as we once knew it does. It's still trust, a trust in a new day. Thusly, trust can be measured by evidence to prove trust. Proof of trust is what we call credit. Proof of distrust, or to trust not trusting someone or something, is called discredit. When the news slanders or mocks people, that can be derision and cause discredit or distrust. You can get defamation lawsuits and libel lawsuits and slander lawsuits for all sorts of things. When the gossiping circles praise someone, their reputation may precede them in a positive light, thus crediting the trust of the person. So you can be famous for good things, and you can be infamous for bad things. When we have enough credit based on our own values and our own arbitrary standards, we can have enough credit to trust the use of something or the word of someone. How much is enough depends on the person. It depends on you. What degree of evidence or proof do you need to believe someone's words and or someone's actions, or even a brand or even a product? When people or items work as true or in alignment with truth, then trust can be built. Some people have a really low bar for trust, or are very forgiving and are often fooled or mistaken multiple times. Like, how often have you been scammed? Have you ever played RuneScape? I can trim your armor for free. Other people have a really high bar for trust and often don't lend out a chance for trust, and once broken, that bridge will be burned and never restored. And that's a low forgiveness, but people have to operate and survive, so if they can't trust you, then they'll have to trust the things that they do trust. Thus, trust and truth are integral with each other. You can only trust what you believe to be true, and you can only believe to be true what you trust to listen to or give a chance for. If you don't give a chance for someone to prove themselves trustworthy, then you won't know if you have enough data to even ever trust them. This goes with first chances as well as second chances. Sometimes you may even give trust to companies or people based on nothing at all. This could be considered a leap of faith. When there are more risks associated that are known to you, the leap becomes larger, and the hesitation before the leap would be fear or worry or some other anxiety. Now, it's not guaranteed that you're going to make it to the other side, but that's why it's called a leap of faith. Some practices and thoughts to build trust. So, these are ways that you can build trust. Do what you say what you mean, and be clear on it. Saying maybe does not count as a yes or no. Make promises that are definitive in time, that have a definite time. A never-ending promise is something that will be broken in time. A promise to deliver by a set date or time can be measured and fulfilled. If you maintain open communication and honest feedback, then you can keep people in the loop, and that helps build trust or assurance. A deal is a promise, so ensure that there are set times and due dates on the deal. Also, to help build trust, you may have to put a down payment, a security deposit, or even collateral at stake to build initial trust as a guarantee or insurance of the deal. Money and finance is all built on energy and trust. The universe is also built on energy and trust. You'll do well to remember that if you wanted to. I'm not going to prescribe anything to you. The most important person to trust is obviously yourself. If you don't trust yourself to do certain things, you can either build trust within yourself or avoid doing certain things that you say to build trust. So you can build up essentially willpower. Technically, from one perspective, you can't distrust something. Because you trust that something will operate differently. Technically, trust is only a positive direction from zero, which is no trust, to infinity, to absolute blind faith. So if you don't trust someone to watch your kids, that means you trust that there's a high enough chance that something bad will happen if they watch your kids. When the risk and uncertainty exceed comfort, then instead of trusting in the faith that something will happen the right way, you have trust and faith that it will operate in the bad way or a bad outcome. Trust what others show themselves to you as. If someone is a liar, trust that they will lie. If someone cheats or steals, trust that they will cheat or steal. Being stable and consistent builds trust. Just as the sun rises every day, we often don't doubt that it won't rise tomorrow. So your actions pave the way, and they speak louder than words sometimes. Your words also speak for yourself, so let your actions show and let your words show. And if you're true to both of those things, people will eventually trust you. You can give chances for other people to prove their trust by using small tasks or favors. If they follow through, then they may be able to accept bigger risks or favors in exchange for negotiable instruments. Essentially, you make low trust chances for people to prove themselves, and if they fail to deliver, then you'll know where they stand. It's a common rule of thumb to not blindly trust someone with all of your money or possessions. So try not gambling your life away for let alone nothing. Jokes and lies can also bring down trust, so you have to be careful with what lies and jokes you tell. Some jokes can be said without having to tell any lies. Truth is important for trust. Out-of-season pranks or lies outside of April Fool's Day can yield damage to trust or your reputational credit, especially if the joke or lie exists a day later or months later. Out of season is good as out of context, so if you make a joke out of context and people don't understand or don't trust you, then of course it's not a good joke. But also people won't trust you. That's a dangerous precedent to set. There's a time and place for everything. Build trust within yourself, and then you show others the same amount of trust that you have with yourself. They will see it as a competency. This trust stems from your own belief. If you believe in yourself, even if others doubt you, with enough proof they will eventually believe in you too. Many people who achieved greatness were not believed by others, and still many more achieved no greatness at all and are still doubted. So your delusions have to be precise and never building of proof to convince those around you to trust you and your acclaim. Give them more proof to trust you. And like the Wright brothers, you may take flight. Pretend you're building a small tower of bricks. Each brick is a proof of trust. Each action that discredits or damages trust can be taken down more than one brick. Perhaps akin to a wrecking ball or explosives. Your goal is to build the biggest tower of trust one brick at a time. Reputation is something that can be made over many years and lost in a few seconds. Make sure you have the tower of trust for yourself, and then show others the same tower you've built. Awards and accomplishments, from degrees to certifications and actionable items, are something that can build trust. A badge of honor or proof, or doing something or committing to a termed contract can prove trust. A testimony or recommendation from someone or some institution is a leverage of trust. A cosigner on a deal or collateral is an extension of trust. You can use so many things around you to build trust. Ultimately, you have to be true. True to yourself, true to your word, and true to your actions. And when people can see that you're true to those things, then they can give you more trust. That doesn't mean that they will give you trust, especially if they don't give you any chances. But that is not going to close the doors for you by being more true to yourself. Epilogue. Trust and truth are essential when working with relationships, whether in a family or community setting, or even a business relationship with people in the same industry or field. If people expect a certain degree of performance and don't receive it, they will trust you less. If you break promises, oaths, or vows, then they'll trust you even less. In fact, the word warlock comes from were logos. The prefix were means change, like in werewolf. Thus, a warlock etymology stems from change of words, meaning oathbreaker. Someone who is initiated in a rite or rites and have broken their faith or changed their words, a renunciation or an exiled and denounced person from society. Technically, people who divorce that break their vows are technically warlocks. That doesn't mean that these people are bad, it just means that they have a blemish on their track record for what trust is. And trust is something that you have to build and rebuild over time. Everything is risky, there are no safe bets, so do what you can with what you have and build trust in as many things as you can while avoiding the scenarios or instances in which makes you lose trust or puts you in a position that threatens it, as much as possible within the degree of your control. Especially when it comes to the trust of yourself or your own self-trust. Try not to threaten that with anything. Believe in yourself, kid. Your belief system, your trusted names, are something that you have to curate throughout your life, whether they be items, brands, corporations, states, governments, countries, or even friends and family. Your connections and relationships are built with trust, so do be careful with conduct and how you word things. When you value the specific words truth and trust and dive deeply into how societies and empires are built on these simple words, then you may come to the agreement that there's a sort of metaphysical authority or even a spiritual transcendent meaning to words, as if there are an archetypical theme or narrative driving our nature or the universe. But that's for you to discern if you decide to dive deeper. All I'm here to say is, words mean things.